If you pay attention, you'll see that everyone in the world is led, right, by principles. Everyone in the world has, like I just said in my last video, an established belief system. People use principles and terms to fuel them, right, to give them hope, to give them inspiration, to draw strength from. That's how we're designed. We're designed to be, to live through words, right? Why not the word that made us who we are? What about the world? What about the word that created and spoke everything into existence? Because we're made in God's image, there's a part of us that wants to be the God of our own lives. And there's a misunderstanding between being the God of our own lives, right, and having God in our life. God in our life is supposed to be seen as God himself, the one, the original source of everything, right? Conscience, the creator, right? The one who thinks things, right? The one who designed things, the one who established things. It's human nature to want to only be accountable to yourself. And if that wasn't so, God would emphasize so much to put your faith in him, right? To repent, to acknowledge him so he can direct you in the right path. Because people want to be like, oh, God ain't real, God ain't this, God ain't that, right? But like, do his principles not fail, right? Are his principles not true? When people do evil, do at some point it catch back up to them. Y'all want to call it karma, but the Bible first called it reap what you sow. What about all these things the Bible calls sin, right? To transgress his law. So God gave us a law. Tell me, what good comes from fornication? Other than potential disease, other than a bunch of soul ties, and now you can't even love your partner the way you need to because you got too many other people on your mind. What good comes from all these different things? Other than your ego, right? Other than your being lifted up in pride, having something to brag about. And there it goes again. Now it's all about you again. You want to sin, you want to do what you want to do because you have an agenda to establish yourself as something, to advertise yourself as something and somebody to the world when we're nothing, when we're dust, when we didn't even make us. The all-powerful, almighty, all-knowing mind, right, that created everything, right? He knows what he's talking about, but we want to pretend like this is all just some coincidence, right? And that we really don't have to be accountable to anything when we die. Doing what you know in your conscience is wrong has consequences, has bad ones, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's a year from now, whether it's 10 years down the road, it has consequences. The Bible says because the punishment of an evil deed isn't executed speedily, that it's filled up in the hearts of men to do evil. But if people really knew, understood, and believed, right, that doing things the way God says to do them has good consequences, they might do them. They might repent from those things. So that's why I'm on here preaching this. If I was the devil and I hated God, I would go hard, right, in deceiving people into believing that they can do whatever they want to do, not have to answer to any of it. Or they'll all be excused one day. Life's a test.